Welcome back to another episode of Steaming Pile with Lauren and Tucker. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Tucker.
And it's Monday. Welcome back to Monday. So it's been a couple weeks. However, I just got to thinking of like health hoaxes, like essential oils or just like things that we thought would fix things, like ginger ale or orange juice or any number of things where it's like, did they actually do any things? And are placebos actual medicine?
Yeah, I think placebos are actual medicine because it works.
It's like if it's because then there's a word, I think it's like psychosomatic, where it's like you have told yourself you're sick, so you're going to act sick, you're going to feel sick, you're going to be sick.
Yeah, no, it's the same thing.
Yeah, no, well, it's why I keep buying like face products when I'm not convinced if they actually do anything or if they just make me feel better about my skin. Then who knows?
It could be either one, and either way it works. What's the healing property of orange juice? You mentioned orange juice in that list, and I can't place it.
Well, at the very least, it's got vitamin C and it helps prevent scurvy. I don't think it cures scurvy. I can't think of any cases of scurvy within the last, 200 years, but I could be wrong.
It's probably because of all the orange juice.
Yeah, we have.
They figured it out.
Yeah.
The supply problem is over. It's gone.
There we go. No more scurvy. But yeah, no, because like I'm fascinated with both like the idea of hoaxes and the idea of like scamming people, but I feel the only thing that really stops me from scamming, is I'm terrible at coming up with like snake oil things, but also I know that the people who would buy into those things are not the people I want to be scamming. Like if I were to scam people, I would want to go like to Goop levels where I'm scamming like especially wealthy like influencer types into believing that any of my nonsense works and that they just give me copious amounts of money for garbage.
I mean, nobody's stopping you, not even the law, so go crazy.
But then I know that it's not going to be just them. It's going to be like the people who buy into the whole multi-level marketing thing, and it's like, no, and I can't be like, no, I don't want you buying my products because that looks bad, but I also can't be like, this is totally a scam, I'm trying to get people in a higher tax bracket than you, it's not personal.
Be a nice change of pace though, having a scam that was very transparent about its goals. We don't want to scam everyone, just the well-to-do. And just, be upfront about it. I don't know how long you'd last because, people in the know will know, but
I don't know. I feel like to some degree you could almost like transcend it, because like Supreme had people buying bricks just because it had the Supreme logo on it. And I feel like that's immensely transparent.
Yeah. But at that point you're doing it for the meme, right? Like you buy the Supreme brick for the meme just to say you bought the Supreme brick.
Yes. Like the real flex is buying enough to build like a wall, right? Mm-hmm. But then are all of the Supreme bricks facing out? They'd have to face out, so I have no idea if that'd even be up to code.
And honestly, I don't even think Mexico could afford something like that. It's their Supreme bricks. Yeah. But there was an app I saw. The app did nothing. It cost $200, and it said, just to show that you can.
See, that's exactly what I want. That's exactly what I would want to do. Because I don't know, I really like the true crime that gets into like scams like that, because like Ponzi schemes, multi-level marketing, it's all super interesting because it works every time. Like these scams always get so far into it before people are like, wait a minute. This doesn't add up. And I'm like, how? How does this work every single time?
That's a great question. I think it's just, you should never underestimate how gullible the general public is.
Yes.
Because a lot of people, when presented with an opportunity to make money quickly, get rich quick scheme, like it smells funky, but usually if it's designed correctly, it wafts the smells away very quickly with clever marketing. So, and the marketing has to get more clever as time goes on. I don't have any concrete examples of this because I don't touch that with a 10-foot pole or, like a 11-foot Italian. So I don't know exactly what they would do to, like, subvert people's expectations of scams, which is kind of what they would be doing.
Yeah. Well, there's a YouTube channel called Illuminati, and she goes into, like, multi-level marketing schemes and scams like that. And she'll break down, like, the history, how it was a scam, and how people can just avoid it. Sometimes she gets out ahead of it, like Diva Curl, she had done one on that. And I had friends who were like, I'm glad I never looked into that. And there were, ones that I had heard of, like LuLaRoe, which is massive, and the whole history of that is insane on its own. But then just, it's baffling that it's the same shtick, but the appeal of money is great, which is why I have to be careful when I watch things like Breaking Bad, because I don't see, like, the DEA or rival drug cartels or things like that. I'm like, he made so much money so quickly.
It's a way to do it.
Yeah.
It will work. It's just, for how long?
Yeah. Well, it's like the lottery. The lottery is still a thing, and people still believe that, like, they have a chance with that. And I've bought the odd lottery ticket. I think in my life I've bought 2.
Sure.
But, like, the chances of those are astronomical, and people still buy, because it's fascinating, because honestly, the more tickets people buy, the worse their chances are, because more people have bought into it. And so,
interesting. It's almost as if they designed it that way.
Yeah. But then there are some things that can be rigged. There's, like, a book about these, I think they were all math guys, and, like, they went to Vegas and they figured out how blackjack was won, and they got in a lot of trouble because they figured out how it worked. And so it's just, I'm fascinated by that. It's a thing where I wonder, like, if I applied myself more, if I figured things out on a more deeper level, or if I just cared to learn, if I could be at that position. Because people who can really invest in, like, technical thinking like that, really interesting. But I don't think I have the patience to make that kind of money.
Probably easier ways to make money, like cooking meth. I mean, it's just chemistry. Yeah. They literally call it cooking. We cook all the time. How hard could it be?
Yeah, no, cooking meth has to be easy, because if you see, like, the general, like, average meth maker, you're like, oh yeah, anyone can do that. Granted, do they start meth fires often? Yes. So not always a good metric of how easy it is, but
Hey, the best meth chefs burn the brightest. That's what my grandpappy always told me.
Oh yeah. Effervescent, the meth community.
Oh yes. One thing I've noticed, like, I guess this isn't multi-level marketing, because these are real brands. I've seen Budweiser do this. I've seen a couple swimsuit brands do this. No one that I follow on Instagram is famous. There's one exception. But I know them all, or knew them all at one point personally, right? Mm-hmm. And one of them made it to MTV's Siesta Key. So, of course, she's going to get brand deals. But everyone else, they're just regular people. But I see brands like Budweiser, for example. They reach out to, like, I don't know what the cap is for like signing these people up. If you are attractive and I guess maybe have over 500 followers, then I guess regular brands will reach out to you and might make you what is micro influencer a word? I feel like it could be a word if it's not.
Yeah.
And I think that's really clever and really dangerous.
Oh yeah,
because
for
you have
friends
like 732 followers. You're not an influencer. You're not.
But they are a brand ambassador.
I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
Well, it's fascinating to see, like, which brands do that, and Cause and just like which ones start to make the rounds and figure out like where the audience is. And because like on YouTube, the big brands right now are like Raycon, the VPNs, like HelloFresh, and like Raid. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of interesting to see like Raycon in particular, how it grew and expanded to multiple presenters like instantly.
They did come out of nowhere. And we give people all this crap about like you're a micro influencer now, you sold nothing out, but as soon as someone approaches you or me or the even the sponsors we have on this podcast, that we would just sell out immediately. Oh, yes. We have absolutely no shame, morals, or any kind of high ground over these people. We do now, but the idea is that we won't later. And that's
yeah, no. Like, and it's you. I think people set standards of like, I would never shill for this company until they ask you to shill for them. And it's like, well, I guess I could shill for Anthrax, just.
Everyone's for sale. Even Anthrax?
I don't know if Anthrax is the brand like borax or if
it's a bacteria, isn't it? It's a species name totally of bacteria. Yeah. What are you thinking of?
I thought Anthrax was just the brand and there wasn't like a generic one. I know that it was like
a brand of deadly poison? Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right. You do you.
Maybe better. Oxycontin.
We'll
show for Oxycontin.
Sure. Yeah.
It's relevant, trendy.
This is America. You don't need to shill for Oxycontin.
That's true. Big Pharma does that for me. Big Pharma is where I draw the line, though. Like, if I had to choose between, like, evil corporations, quote unquote, like, if we have, like, Big Oil, Big Pharma, Disney, Amazon, I think Big Pharma is, like, bottom of the list.
Sure.
Because Amazon at least has enough subsidiaries that I can be like, oh, it's just Audible. But, like...
Yeah.
But no, like, Purdue Pharma? No. I would never. BP? Maybe if I had to. Oh.
I mean, they got that oil money.
Don't make me shill for BP.
Try me, BP. Please. Try me.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're not above it. We're not. We have no moral high ground. We have absolutely zero, and it's kind of humbling to think about.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to remember, there was one musical artist that I never thought would sell out, and no one thought that they would sell out, and they were on a Super Bowl commercial. It was Bob Dylan. And and we saw Bob Dylan on a Super Bowl commercial, and we're like, really? He did it? He did a Super Bowl commercial? Okay.
That's so weird.
And you see you see some, like, you see some actors in movies that are just god awful, and they know it's god awful, and they're half-assed in the performance, and it just proves anyone will do anything for money. Everything's for sale.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, Bob Dylan, that's such a weird choice. Like, to ask, like, who in a boardroom is like, who I bet would do this? Bob Dylan. Doing a commercial seems like in line with his views. And the fact that it would have been him, like, he would have been really old when he did it.
Yeah, I think it was like 4 or 5 years ago. What was it for?
But even so, he's like in his 80s now.
It was...
or no, he like just turned 80.
It was for Chrysler.
What?
It was for Fiat Chrysler. That's hilarious.
Oh, no.
I wonder if you could understand the words he was saying. I don't think I've ever heard him say words and not sing. And even then, I don't really know what he says when he sings either. It's just...
Yeah, I think I've only heard him, like, actually sing in 2 songs. Like, I've heard, like, The Times They Are Changin', because they use that in the opening credits for Watchmen. And I think there's a song by the Traveling Wilburys called Dirty World, and he sings in that one. And that took me right out. like hearing him sing made me like astral project. 'Cause it just like activated a fight or flight response.
Yeah.
Because I think I have like the parody version of his voice in my head, but then like hearing it and realizing, oh no, that is actually how he sounds.
Mm-hmm.
It takes me out of it sometimes.
Yeah. He wasn't always like that. You hear some of his early stuff and you can understand syllables and words and piece together sentences.
Sure.
But like as he progressed, it's like I don't quite understand. Like he's a great songwriter, but how would you know?
Well, other people covered his songs. That's how we know All Along the Watchtower is a good song. Is because Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, there you go.
It.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's. Yeah, I don't know why It's amazing that he remained in popularity, even though he just. And I don't know why he sings like that. I don't get it. Just from a any perspective, actually, don't get it. Don't understand.
Well, and I feel like 10 years before he started like producing records, I feel like they would have taken his songs and given it to someone else, because the fact that he was even singing his own stuff was relatively new at the time.
How do you mean?
Well, like a lot of artists would end up just taking like songs that other people had written. They would perform standards. They wouldn't necessarily be writing their music and performing. Like they would still perform their own songs. Like Chuck Berry was still writing and performing songs he had written.
I guess the idea of the singer-songwriter wasn't prevalent.
Yes, if memory serves. I could be wrong on that. But Bob Dylan also kind of popularized the idea of making songs that were a little more personal and a little more like directly referencing things in his life. There's a song he had written, I forget what the name of the song is. There's a video by The Take that kind of goes into the like more personable lyrics, and people were like, wait, is this referencing like people you know? And of course he wouldn't say that it was. But people are like, you mentioned this street, this is a real street, are these real people?
You know, do you know what the prostitute did when she got to Chicago?
I don't.
The answer, my friends, is blowing in the wind. So few times I get to break that joke out. So few times.
Yeah.
Because no one ever talks about Bob Dylan in front of me. So this is exciting.
It's, yeah. No.
But yeah, no, I'm trying to think if there are any other singers that are just indecipherable. And no one springs to mind like Bob Dylan does.
I mean, I always felt that Ariana Grande was unintelligible. Because I would sometimes like sing along with her in the car, and I would just basically make the vowel sounds. I would not try to hit any of the consonants at all, and it would match up perfectly.
The only song I know of hers off the top of my head is Thank You Next. And I guess, yeah, because she has that very airy voice and she doesn't form consonants with her mouth. Yeah. So, yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it's something individual singers can get away with a lot more than like ensemble, because like if you're in an ensemble, it always like diction is always what's like really pushed. But when you're out there by yourself, it doesn't matter.
It's true. And you know, are people even listening to the words?
It depends, I guess. Depends on what you're going for as a singer-songwriter.
Are people listening to Ariana Grande's words other than the chorus?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I feel like
I know so many words to her songs, even though I've never like sought it out. It's just through like osmosis of listening to it on the radio.
Yeah, they're standards on the radio. Just think in like, I don't know, 70, 100, 120 years, it'll all be in public domain. What will music look like then? What will new music look like in 2120?
I'm not sure, because I'm trying to think back to even like music 120 years ago from today. And I don't know. I think it depends on, because I don't know. On the one hand, I'm like, well, yeah, it's probably going to get more produced. It's probably going to get more electronic, but it may not, because a lot of the people who made their name through more electronic sounds or people who like had really heavily produced things, they like worked backwards and stripped their music down again. So I think it just depends.
That's a good point. I do think we'll see. I think we'll see a radicalization of the electronic noise. And I mean noise. I don't mean like electronic music. I mean just ear bleeding noise.
Oh, yeah. We're probably going to have like another sound wall movement.
Yeah. But I don't think the rest of it's going to go away. I think you're right.
Yeah. Because I think you almost have to look at what was considered avant-garde and weird like 40 years ago and figure that's going to be mainstream to some extent. Or probably not even 40 years ago. But like find who is considered weird now and kind of out there now, and then figure they're going to be normalized in, honestly, that's what's tricky, is just how much faster things excel. And so it's more like an exponential curve on how things change rather than like a gradual, like, here's how it is today. We can predict it'll be like this, in X number of years because of music trends that happened, 30 years ago.
Sure.
So it's hard to say.
Yeah. It'll be very interesting to see, especially just in our lifetimes, because a lot will change. A lot has changed. Remember like the early 2000s? That was
vaguely.
That was fun. Or even like the 2010s.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fun times.
Yeah. I think the progression of music is also affected by the fact that we have like the entire catalog of existing music beforehand, where like we can explore music that we wouldn't have had access to. Because 40, 50 years ago, they would have had what was like immediately accessible to them. So the internet has like completely changed the game. I wonder if we'll get more independent producers, like more individuals making things rather than like entire teams of people making things.
That's probably true. That's what the trend is pushing towards now. I mean, it's the level, the entry level of skill has decreased because of technology. Easily.
Yes.
Anyone can sit down and bang out a tune in GarageBand on their iPhone, and it will sound competent. You can tell it was made in GarageBand, but in 10 or 20 years, I'll bet you won't be able to.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's how we have people making movies on iPhones now.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's like the software and equipment is out there. And like that's what's going to change things, is the more people have access to what they need, the more we can cut out the middlemen, and the more that is how it goes.
I mean, it's fine with me. But then you got to wonder, where does that change the bar, like the level of, not the level of entry, but the level of excellence? Does that shift that bar?
I think so. Because I think we've seen that with like YouTube. People's standards for like baseline YouTube content has gone up as the access to equipment has expanded. And so it's like you have to have a baseline level of equipment to even be taken seriously.
I suppose that's true, yeah. Although a lot of YouTubers, a lot of filmmakers, and I tend to agree with this, the equipment is secondary to the content you're producing. It's just there to make it look better. And I think a lot of people unnecessarily conflate like quality of picture with quality of content.
Oh, absolutely.
like you can, like you said, you can shoot on an iPhone and it'll look really good, right? Like,
yeah. Well, and I know there are a few channels that like they've still been filming with like their laptop webcams.
Yeah.
But the content of what they've been making has been enough to build an audience. They haven't needed the equipment to back it up.
Exactly.
And honestly, you need to be able to work with what you have to be able to get to the point where you can afford things that make your content look better.
Yeah. No, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah. My phone will shoot in 4K. No one's going to watch content in 4K. I don't need to even shoot with what this thing is capable of, and I can still make content.
Yeah.
At the same, like, it's right, like, so it's and it's weird to see how creators are responding to this, because it's not only the content, like if you can draw an arbitrary line between content and production value, the production value is increasing dramatically as well, just separate from technology as well, like this third category that is very, very defined by very blurry lines that I'm setting forth arbitrarily in my head, that just like the production value of everything outside of what you're shooting with and the words you're saying out of your mouth. You see a lot of people just digging into that, and it's actually really impressive what you can do with that kind of, with just a little bit of, I guess, thought. Yeah.
Well, and I think we saw that even through like Vine. Vine proved that there is no limit to what you can do in that 7 seconds.
Yeah.
Like if you know what you're doing and you have a plan, there's some really neat things that could be done. And so I think any limits that people put is kind of arbitrary.
Yes.
And I think that is a testament to quantity producing quality, is you just have to keep doing it.
Yeah.
And like that's why I did like the film reviews, because those were regular easy things, so I could learn how to use my software, so that way when I had a bigger thing I wanted to do, it's already halfway there.
Yeah. No, it's all, no matter what you do, it's practice.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, just people creating things with what they have. It's also very heartwarming to see in a very abstract way that I'll figure out how to explain by the time I get to the end of this sentence. It's just very nice to see that you don't need to you don't need to go out and get all this stuff. You don't need to, and half of this technology, half of this is that you just never needed to in the first place, right? And you know, I get that I'm kind of a hypocrite saying this. There's a 6K camera in my closet that, you know,
6K? They invented a 6K?
Oh, Lauren, they came out with a 12K camera a couple months ago. If you want to drop 12K for 12K, it costs 12K, right? Yeah, I think it does. They make them.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. You can punch in 4 times and get the resolution my camera does. It's crazy. It's crazy. I also still think it's a super 35 millimeter sensor, and I don't understand how they did that. But anyway, it's just nice that there's no barrier to that anymore. There's no barrier to that.
Yeah.
Warms my heart.
Yeah. No, it is a lot of fun.
It
just adds. Go ahead.
Nope. I was going to change the subject. Go ahead.
Oh no, that's totally fine, because I'm like, all right, how much more do we have on this conversation? What else is there to say about the topic?
Yeah, you're a fan of Filthy Frank, yeah?
Yes.
Have you heard Joji's new album that came out the 25th?
The new one, no. I had heard probably his like first round of music when it had dropped. So like Dancing in the Dark, and then
what was
Slow Dancing in the Dark, and then there was another one that was really good.
The one before that was In Tongues. The album itself which I guess was an EP, was Ballads 1.
Okay.
Yeah. This one's called Nectar. It's very good. A lot of the songs on there are great. Some of them are not, but most of them are pretty good. There are a couple that I just have on repeat. It's just
Nice.
oh god. I think it's very I'm impressed every time I hear his music.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think his was one of the more successful rebrandings
Oh, yeah.
in like recent memory.
I can't think of anyone who's rebranded more or better.
Yeah.
Yeah, nope, can't think of one.
No.
Is I mean, an impressive pivot, but
Yeah. Well, and he had made music even before he did it like as himself, so to speak, because he had like a couple albums that were like the Pink Guy persona, correct?
Pink Season absolutely slaps. Nickelodeon Girls is my jam. Goofy's Trial is one of the best skits. I love Goofy's Trial. That album, oh, beautiful album. Pink Season is amazing.
I really like music that can be like funny, but it's also just really impressive from like a technical standpoint or from an artistic standpoint. It's why I like Neil Cicierega's music. Is it's technically all existing music, but what he does with it is hysterical.
Weird Al's up there too.
Yeah, he is fascinating because his career has outlasted some of the people that he's parodied. And I think that's tremendous.
That is, I never really thought about that. That's actually really, really cool.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah. And I think he's the kind of guy who's fostered enough goodwill that he's honestly good to go on as long as he wants to.
Yeah. I can't think of anyone else who does what he does.
Certainly not to the same level.
Has Rucka Rucka Ali done anything recently?
I don't know.
I can't think of... I have to look it up. What has he done recently? I don't know the last thing he did.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it also helps that Weird Al is like, he's also an accomplished musician on his own. He's not just like a lyricist. And sometimes when he drops like the weird bit, he's still really good. Like he got to perform in George Fest, which was like this huge tribute concert to George Harrison. And he got to perform one of George Harrison's songs, and it was really good.
Yeah, no, he's very talented.
I saw him live in the Before Times.
Oh,
and
lucky.
Yeah, it was pretty great. It was a show that, looking back on it and looking forward to when, stuff reopens, he would be one that I would splurge to get like the full like meet and greet package for, because I think his whole meet and greet package, at least for my venue, was like $300. Which is, an investment, but pretty accessible given like the length of his career and his global influence.
Yeah.
Because like, oh goodness, Drew Gooden had tried to go to like Logan Paul's events, and those meet and greet packages were like $1,000, and I'm like, let's take a step back.
God.
Are you worth $1,000 to meet, sir?
No. So in 2020, it looks like Rucka Rucka Ali put out 2 singles. He hasn't put out a full album in a while, but let's see. These are all parodies. He put out 2 songs in 2020. One of them is called I'm the Black Guy, which is a Bad Guy by Billie Eilish parody. And then the other one's called Corn Virus, and that's based on Panini by Lil Nas X, which I've never heard.
It's a pretty good song, actually. I enjoyed Panini.
I don't know. It's an interesting choice for a parody. What else has he done?
Yeah. But honestly, like the whole like scope of music this year has been wonky. It's only been a handful of songs that have been released.
Mm-hmm.
Although I guess Taylor Swift she dropped an album.
Yes.
But yeah, no, it's mostly been singles, I guess.
Let's see.
Which I think has changed the scope of music production and music sales in a big way, of people like releasing singles instead of the album.
I'm looking at his list of songs. Some of them are like, oh, okay. Yeah, I think the year, because people can't really get into, maybe they can nowadays, I don't know, but like, get into studios and actually like, record and mix and master these things. And I guess you could, I mean, I guess you could do some, like, you probably do all of it remotely in a way.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it makes me curious, like, when certain songs were made and put together that, like, they were able to release this year. Like, WAP. I don't know when they put that together because they filmed a music video to go with it.
That was an intense music video, like, just production-wise.
Yeah.
It was, like, all green screen and a lot of VFX.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, I've only seen the music video by watching, like, other people show clips of it.
That's still too much of it, I think. No, because like I'll watch, but there is definitely like a feeling of like, Cardi, your eyes are up there. Please just let me look at your eyes up there. Yeah, that's a song. That song exists now.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, comments, there was a comment on some video that was talking about it, and they're like, remember Anaconda and how that was like the dirtiest music video to exist for a while? And I'm like, I do.
Ah, the good days.
The before times.
Yeah. BWAP. Those were the times.
Yeah. And there was, I think it was Todd in the Shadows talking about like the radio version, which a futile effort to even try to play it on the radio, because he points out that because the word whores is used in the backbeat, they're basically censoring every third beat of the song.
Yeah. Yeah. No, the music video is of the radio edit. So
yeah.
Why would why would you with that video, right? Might as well just go all in.
Yeah.
Go all in.
Well, and especially where it's like, okay, let's back up and talk about this. First off, anyone who is watching this knows exactly what this is. You're not hiding anything by censoring any of this.
Yeah.
The censored version opens it up. You don't want the people who would need the censored version to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Why do it?
I don't know. I'm reading the lyrics.
No, and then the worst part is because I watched like analysis videos the whole time I'm like walking around my apartment, I keep singing it under my breath and I'm like, no, stop.
Swipe your nose like a credit card. All right.
Yeah.
All right. That's okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Megan Thee Stallion's flow is pretty good. I remember that.
Yeah, no.
Like if you just listen to like
she has really good cadence, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because I've heard other people talk about how like flow is really important to Megan Thee Stallion's verses, but then like just the imagery is very important to Cardi B's verses.
I don't get that metaphor. Oh my.
Yeah, no, it is dirty.
I assume she means Dasani in a negative context, because that's disgusting. Dasani is the worst kind of water. And honestly comparable. Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah. Okay. Oh dear. Anyway. They're okay. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I've heard Ben Shapiro say the lyrics.
Oh yeah.
I've heard some. I heard
There's
that the lounge jazz version.
interesting. Okay.
It's actually really good.
There's a comedian named Lucas Arnold, and he read the lyrics. Actually, he straight up like performed the lyrics, honestly, but as John Mulaney.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That was great.
Oh my god, what a song for the times, huh? That's
Yeah. No. Yeah. No. People are so lonely.
yeah. But I'm just trying to think, because a lot of songs that are of that, like, graphic, right?
Yeah.
The only ones that come to mind are like those of like Cannibal Corpse and Infant Annihilator. The ones that are so far away from mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
Like, right, like they're lyrically vile songs. But I mean, nobody knows really that they exist. Like in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. And I've thought about that too, because like people will get like up in arms about songs like WAP because it's just very bold in proclaiming its filth. But it's like filth has existed in songs forever. It just wasn't put in such frank terms.
Mm-hmm.
Or sometimes it was. It just didn't click until way later. Or just like the references didn't catch on.
Yeah. And like you said,
because I mean, like, how long would we have heard a song like Stacy's Mom before we realized what he was actually talking about? Or, oh goodness, what are other songs that I realized were?
I'll bet you there are a lot of Beatles songs like that.
Oh, there are.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole song called Why Don't We Do It on the Road, which that is the song. Those are the only lyrics. I
mean, he brings up an interesting point. Why don't we do it? Cars, right? That's the answer.
Yeah, you would think.
Do they present an answer, or do they just ask the question?
Yeah. He just repeatedly asks, "Why don't we do it on the road?" He says, "No one will be watching us," and then he asks again, "Why don't we do it in the road?"
I disagree. Everyone will be watching you. And not.
I mean, yeah.
Not because like you're perverted. It's because you're in the middle of the road. Get out and get off. Like, I don't understand. Why would you? Okay, it's asphalt. That's. Just because it has ass in the name, it doesn't. No. Go on the grass.
Yeah, that actually has ass in it. So, like, it's right there.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, like, and it's hot. The ground gets hot.
Yeah.
Asphalt gets hot. I don't understand. Why don't we do it in multitude of reasons? Multitude of reasons. Who wrote that song? Was that a McCartney song?
It was, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it was one of those songs that he recorded by himself. Like, he brought in Ringo to do drums, but it was during the White Album when they were all just doing their own thing.
Okay, yep, that's... There's so many reasons why don't we do it in the middle. Why don't we do it at the bottom of the ocean? Breathing, for one. That's... It's a dumb question. It's a dumb question. Of all the places.
Yeah.
The middle of the... God. Do you mean like the median? Like the literal middle of the road on the two yellow lines people can swerve?
You know? Yeah. No, he wrote it because while they were in India, he saw two monkeys going at it in the middle of the road, and he's like, wow, wouldn't the world be beautiful if humans could, just embrace that kind of lack of inhibitions?
No.
And
move it to the sidewalk.
Have some decency. Go to the sidewalk. You're a pedestrian. Yeah, so most music historians are like, for a song about monkeys screwing in the road, it's about as good as you would expect.
I mean, it's a McCartney song. He probably treated it with the dignity it deserved.
Honestly, it does. It kind of slaps. The percussion's good.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, and I think like he sings it in a very melodramatic way, so I think he understands that it's kind of a goof. But like,
And yet
yeah,
it still came out.
inside of us there are two wolves. One wolf writes, "Why don't we do it in the road?" and the other writes, "Maybe I'm amazed." And they both exist at the same time.
On the same album?
No,
Oh, thank God.
no, "Maybe I'm Amazed" came on his first debut solo album. Yeah, which was like the only song that music critics liked. When he dropped the album, and he dropped it as like the biggest like fu to his former bandmates, because they were like, "We'll let you release your album first if you sign over management to this guy that you don't like." And he was like, "Fine." So with his album release, he announced he was leaving the Beatles, not that the Beatles were breaking up. So it became about him, and people were like, "He left the Beatles for this?" Except for this song. This song is good, but the rest of this.
Why would you? I mean, the Beatles. If I were in the Beatles and I hated the other Beatles, I would not leave the Beatles because I would be drowning in cash.
Yes.
But I guess at some point, how much cash do you need? And at what point do you just say, "I have enough, screw these guys, I'm going home"? And I'm like the lead Beatle too, so people know who I am.
Yes.
Who are the
Well,
other Beatles? Ringo, Lennon. There are two others. Who cares? Right? Like that's...
yeah, well, because John wanted out because he wanted to make like his own sound, and his sound was getting like more moody and poetic and like deep. Sure. So when he did a trial run, divorced his wife, came in, and he's like, "I'm divorcing the band." And George and Ringo both were like, "Yeah, okay, sucks, but that makes sense." And McCartney's like, "You're doing what?" So yeah.
It happens to all the big bands, I guess.
Yeah.
Creative differences.
Yeah. And that's what gets me about the whole thing, is they were in the band, they all made music history, the band broke up, and then they turned 30.
What?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Huh.
Yeah.
Are you really sure?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, like the rooftop concert that happened in like January of 1970, none of them was 30 yet.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how old's McCartney now? So he hasn't been a Beatle for like 50 years?
Yes. Yeah, he just turned 78 this year. Ringo just turned 80.
Huh. Wow. I did not know that the Beatles were such a flash in the pan like that. They must have been really prolific because they pumped out a lot of music.
They did 13 studio albums in 7 years.
That talk about saturation. My God.
Yeah.
How did you even do that? No wonder they wrote "Let's do it in the middle of the road." They needed ideas.
Yeah, no, because that was for the double album, so they had to like fill it with other things. Because why would we let George Harrison have more than 2 songs when we can just drop this too?
There you go. Yeah, just let's do it in the middle of the road. That song infuriates me. I don't believe you that that's the only lyric, but I'm going to look it up and I'm going to see that that's the only lyric. Let's do it in the. Let's do it in the road. That's why don't we do it in the road? There's a whole Wikipedia page on it. Hell yeah.
There is. Yeah. There's a wiki pretty much about every song that they wrote.
At 142, why don't we do it in the road? Comprises 34 bars of a 12-bar blues idiom. With only 2 different lines. Oh, tell me what the different lines are. A male monkey just hopped on the back of his female and gave her one, as they say in the vernacular. Within 2 or 3 seconds, he hopped off again and looked around as if to say, "It wasn't me." And she looked around as if there had been some mild disturbance. And I thought, that's how simple the act of procreation is. We have horrendous problems with it, and yet animals don't. I would have a problem if it was blocking my commute to work. That's... What are the lyrics?
Just those 2 lines.
I want to see with Genius. Let's see. Why don't we do it in the road? No one will be watching us. Well, they even separate it into 3 verses.
It's you could really just do it times 3, and that would suffice.
That's the song.
Mm-hmm.
That blows my mind. That blows my mind. Are there other Beatles songs that are like this?
That are just that kind of banal and kind of garbage?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Guess
yeah.
you only hear the good ones.
Well, and are they kind of garbage? Do I still kind of like them? Yes. Like, Everybody's Got Something to Hide Except for Me and My Monkey. That's a weird song, but I like that one.
What is it with him and monkeys? He likes watching them screw. Now he has one.
Yeah.
This is the same album with Back in the USSR, Obla Di Obla Da, Helter Skelter. Oh my god. Mm-hmm. This is a loaded album.
The album's legit, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Well, because that album, every time I'm like, all right, I have surpassed all of the songs that I like. It's too weird. I have to turn it off. Then they throw in like a song that's good and I have to keep listening. And about the time I'm like, yeah, this album's good. They throw in something like Revolution 9 and I'm like, it's too weird. I have to leave. And Revolution 9 in itself is a microcosm of that experience. Because about the time I'm like, yeah, this sound collage is very cool. Yoko Ono whispers, now you become naked. And I'm like, Yoko, I swear to God.
What the hell? What am I missing? I thought I knew the Beatles. I know nothing about the Beatles. I know 0 things.
Well,
oh my god.
I can rectify that.
I'll bet you can. I'm looking forward to the 3-hour video you're about to drop inevitably. Just about the Beatles. And probably just like about a quarter of the Beatles. Just like it's going to be a 4-part series. It'll be like Lord of the Rings, uncut and unfiltered. Yes. Just straight through director's edit of just unfiltered. Yeah. Lauren sitting there talking about the Beatles, half just, going crazy about them because she's in love with them, and the other half analytically analyzing what the monkey meant.
It probably ties back into the Paul is dead conspiracy somehow. So,
there's a Paul is dead. That's a thought people have.
Yeah. So in 1966, he got into a car accident, and people are like, "Oh, he died," because they quit touring. The album that was released after he died, they were pretending to be a completely different band. They all grew mustaches to obscure the change in the face. And if you play certain songs backwards, you can hear "We Buried Paul." "Paul is dead, I miss him." He's barefoot on the Abbey Road cover because he's the dead man. And it's... Yeah, because they're like, yeah, it was the guy named William Shears who replaced him. And I'm like, you idiots. They announced Billy Shears before Ringo sings. But yeah, no, John looks like a completely different person. If you look at him in 1966 and then in 1967, he looks dead. But no, Paul is the one who's different because he looks slightly different. Because John started doing heroin and just lost 30 pounds. He cut his hair, he grew a mustache. It looks like a dead Victorian watchmaker.
Nice.
But no.
A dead Victorian watchmaker. What does that even mean?
That was how he was described for the Sgt. Pepper party. They all came in and people were like, "It's the Beatles! Is it the Beatles?" What's up with this look, guys?
Oh my god. Yeah. I need to learn more about the Beatles. I knew none of this. I know nothing, it turns out.
It was really interesting because I had really, before I started listening to them in general, I had really only thought of them just as a band, a significant one, but a band. I had heard a handful of songs from their solo careers, but I really hadn't heard a ton from their actual discography. Mm-hmm. And so getting to listen from start to finish, I'm like, no, I get it. This is cool. And getting to see them in movies, I'm like, they're my age and that's weird.
Yeah. I don't know. back in, I'm surprised I didn't know more about the Beatles, because back in middle school, I ran sound for a show called The Beatles Slept Here, which I'm not entirely certain what it was about anymore, because I don't actually remember anything about it, so I don't know why I brought it up. I feel like it was centered around... No, that was the other one. I need to do another Google search. What was this show about? The Beatles Slept Here. Yeah. Packed with hysterical Beatles references and a slow internet connection that doesn't... The router's right there. Figure it out. Here you go. Yeah. Packed with hysterical Beatles references and puns, this magical mystery comedy will have your audience come together to remember all the memorable tunes. Through Sergeant Paprika, who inexplicably despises the Beatles, has tried to keep it secret from the world, word gets out that the Fab Four spent a night in this Penny Lane hotel. When a group of high school students publicizes this historic tidbit, Sergeant Paprika is licensed and fired... Oh, I'm sorry. Sergeant Paprika... It's the text is small. Sergeant Paprika is... and fires Eleanor, the hotel manager.
Oh, goodness.
Meanwhile, his sister Clarabelle schemes with a crooked psychiatrist to have Paprika committed to Happy Acres, an insane asylum. What would make him fool? What would that make him the fool on the hill? Help! A Beatles fan club arrives with all their memorabilia, which gets stolen by Mr. Mustard and his gang, bumbling art thieves who have slinked into town. Detective Johnny B. Good is called in to solve the crime and quickly zeroes in on Sergeant Paprika and his prime suspect. It's been a hard day's night for poor Paprika.
No.
Especially when the Beatles mysteriously appear to him in the middle of the night, proving he's gone over the edge. But here comes the sun as Eleanor and the high school crew work it out. And Paprika gets by with a little help from his friends.
Oh, good Lord.
I don't remember what this show is like, the set and the anything. I remember the other shows, but not this one. All right, download a script sample for later.
Yeah, no.
I remember being especially infuriated with how Beatles music was mixed, because we had a CD that we played for pre-show music, probably not legally, but it was middle school, who cares, of Beatles, and it was like a greatest hits, and the first song was Yellow Submarine, and the CD player was played in stereo, but it went through a mono main out from the soundboard, so you only got like the voice or the
that's the classic.
Why is it
dilemma.
Why is it mixed that way? Why is that mixed that way? I don't understand. What? That's not how stereo works. That's how surround sound works, but surround sound is 5 and 6 channels, not 2. Okay.
I don't know.
I that's
all I know is that when I listen to it in mono, if I listen to it with one headphone, I can only experience one half of the song.
Yeah. I never understood that. I never understood, why would you, for like a production track, for something that you're going to put it on vinyl. Think about how people listened to music back in the day. This was probably a 45 7-inch vinyl, right? Still stereo. I believe 45s were stereo, right?
Probably.
But so you have 2 speakers probably right next to each other with a short run to the record player. It's not like it still doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Why would you want to isolate the vocals on one track and then...
I don't know. Because I think they've done stereo mixes of their stuff before. But then they'll do like mono re-releases. Because I don't know if it's the music purists want like the closest thing to the original experience, or if they want the maximized like audio quality. I don't know what their goal is.
I don't see how either of those goals are met with putting audio on one track and the instrumental on the other.
Yeah.
I can't think of a single reason except for, like, in elementary school, I was in a choir for fourth and fifth grade, and the songs that we got, they had instrumental tracks, and then they had tracks with like how it's supposed to sound with the choir and whatnot, right? The only reason I can think of to split in a stereo track that you're supposed to listen to with headphones or speakers is if you want to pick one or both channels and then sum it to mono, so that you can have just the instrumental or just the vocal for practicing purposes.
Yes.
But under no circumstance, I honestly can't figure it out. There's no reason. There's like, you pan it a little bit, right? And I'm not a mix engineer, right? I'm very bad at it. But I know that you want to take advantage of stereo a little bit. And this might just be something that is a more modern mixing technique. You usually mix it for both. You mix it for both stereo and mono, because a lot of times people listen to music on mono. Because we've regressed as a society. And right, like if I'm playing something on like a Google Home speaker, or maybe out a Bluetooth speaker or something like that, there's only one driver in there. It's going to sum to mono anyway. Or even worse, some Bluetooth speakers just pick the left channel. So if you with the Beatles, you're really screwed. In the town, or it's not. I'm upset. Can you tell? I'm upset. I don't get it.
You're
want
very
to.
incensed, yes. Yeah. No, that's what makes songs like Eleanor Rigby a lot of fun, because you'll have like the, look at all the lonely people, and then Eleanor, and then it's just violins.
Oh, they pan
until finally the vocal. Yeah.
Oh, they pan. Interesting. That's stupid. Especially, and that had to have been a conscious decision because of how they mixed things back then, right? They recorded to a 8-track or 16-track tape, right? And so when they mixed it down to a master tape, they had to there was no nowadays in like software, you can automate these things, right? You can draw how the pan is, right? Or you can actually have in Ableton Live, you can actually have a thing that automatically with a sine wave does the pan left and right because the tracks are stereo. But on an SSL console, a human had to turn the knob as it was being mixed down. I don't get it.
Confounded.
I think you're frozen. I can't tell if you're still there. There you are.
Yeah.
Okay. A human had to make this error. And yeah, I'm calling it an error because it's...
It's fine. We'll find where George Martin's grave is, and you can shake your fist at it.
Go full Cannibal Corpse on it. Don't listen to those songs. Don't Google it.
I can tell when something's not meant for me.
See, it's fine because you listen to the song and it's just noise. You can't understand what they're saying, but you read the lyrics and it's like, oh my god. Oh my god. the Black Dahlia Murder. That's a fun song. I don't know if that's the band or the song name. I had that as someone's ringtone at one point because it was like their favorite song. Not their favorite song, like ironically favorite song.
Of course.
And you couldn't tell what they were saying. But if you read the lyrics,
then you can't unhear
you can't unread these lyrics, because I'm not sure if you are familiar with the song's called The Window. It's by the Black Dahlia Murder. It's disturbing. It's disturbing. I would say it's more disturbing than some of the stuff that Infant Annihilator writes. And the band's called Infant Annihilator, all right?
Yeah. Well, it reminds, there was a whole genre of, music that was, just shock rock, and that was, the whole point.
That's Infant Annihilator, yeah.
There's, what was the band? The Crazy World of Arthur Brown?
That sounds familiar, yeah.
Yeah, they have a song called Fire, I think. And that was a lot. Like it's an old song at this point. It's like a 50, 60-year-old song at this point. But it was kind of neat. And like Alice Cooper, Ozzy Osbourne, that was kind of like their shtick. So I'm not surprised that we still have bands that like do that thing.
Time to look at the lyrics for.
We're just reading all kinds of lyrics.
Well, you said it. We read WAP.
Yeah.
Okay. This is nothing. This is.
I'm also thinking of the music video that accompanies it, where he's wearing like, you know, the full Baphomet headdress and his head is on fire.
Okay. Maybe visually it's a little more.
It's, yeah, no. The frontman, who might also be named Arthur Brown, his stage persona was really cool, and I think he performed with that same like look for a while. Like I think he still does like the full stage makeup and all of that.
Yeah, I looked up the lyrics to "The Window" by the Black Dahlia Murder. You don't know what bad lyrics are. Not bad like artistically bad, but bad like I want to like gouge my eyes out with an oyster shucking knife.
Oh. Huh.
I'll give you the first line.
That's
the first line. The first line. It opens with "I sodomized the young and dying." That is the first line. If you listen to the song, you can't tell what they're saying, you know, because it's like right, but and like these musicians are talented, right? Because you gotta have talent to, you know, with the fast-paced math rock.
Yeah.
And like to growl scream like that, it is hard on your throat.
It is.
Oh, it is rough.
Yeah.
And to come up with things like this, to write lyrics like that, you have to go somewhere else in your mind. You have to be like, you know.
Yeah, you can't just leave that walking around in your brain all day.
Yeah, you just gotta, you know, 10 seconds is the window, another child has met his fate. And then send it.
Yeah, that sounds great. Drop it.
Full send.
Perfect.
No, we won't get sued, I promise.
It's satire.
Sure. I actually think it's biographical of an actual murder that took place. Like the band is called the Black Dahlia Murders, which is actually a thing. I don't know if The Window is in reference to those murders or another violent murderer, but that it's I feel like it's a true story, which makes it so much worse. So much worse.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So much worse. Well, all this talk of music, Lauren, really makes me think of my sponsor. This is like the best segue we've ever had.
I know, just the smoothest thing, like a transition between verses.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. So I don't know if it's a great segue from like the Black Dahlia Murder, but maybe a great segue from the Beatles, because today's episode of Steaming Pile is brought to you by Ben Folds.
Oh.
Not the artist, though. Rather, the chain of laundromats in Twin Falls, Idaho. Bring in your dirty clothes. It isn't a bad idea. We clean your clothes like magic, regardless of your redneck past. We remove all the stains like sports and wine. Don't change your plans. And don't erase me from your to-do list. Our philosophy is to send you sky high with our army of professionals. When you visit, say Julianne sent you. That's right. It's Ben Folds in Twin Falls, Idaho. Check us out.
Wow. That's like a good service. Yeah. People need laundromats. That's lovely.
Exactly. And I think it ties in perfectly. I think to music in general, again, it's hard to tie really anything in with the Black Dahlia Murder, except for other Black Dahlia Murder songs, of which I don't think I've heard any. I think The Window is the only one I've heard. I have some listening to do.
Yeah, no, adventures for next time. But wow, we got to the bottom of the pile and we found dead children. Who would have thought?
Never mind.
We got to the bottom of the pile. We found a laundromat.
Hey,
there we go.
That's good. I need to cleanse myself of the lyrics I just read.
We'll get Tide to sponsor us next time. Not the detergent.
Literally,
the actual Tide.
What the moon does. You can't explain it.
Yes. Goodness gracious. But yeah, no, it's. You all can do your homework between this and the next episode. It's optional, so if you read a couple lyrics and you're like, this isn't for me, we won't fail you.
It's not really for anyone, let's be honest. This is The first line isn't even that bad. I read the first line. It's not the bad section. The chorus. The chorus. The chorus. The chorus.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's Ben Folds in Twin Falls, Idaho.
Thank you to Ben Folds in Twin Falls, Idaho, for sponsoring tonight's episode.
And we're sorry.
It's, We've already cashed the check. It's fine.
Yep.
But no, thank you all so much for listening to another episode of Steaming Pile with Lauren and Tucker. I've been Lauren.
And I've been Tucker.
We will see you all next time.